It is an incredibly unusual situation for one of the most advanced fighter aircraft ever built. An F-35 of the British Navy, the Royal Navy, has been stranded at the Thiruvananthapuram airport in Kerala for 6 days and counting. Around this time, 6 days ago, is when this aircraft had to make an emergency landing. We were told it was low on fuel, but now it turns out the situation is far more serious than believed. And an offer by Air India to put this aircraft into a hangar so it doesn't need to sit out there under the sun and the stars and the rain that is hitting Kerala. Well, the Royal Navy has declined that Air India offer and said they are contemplating what to do with the aircraft, and things are getting steadily more serious ever since NDTV brought this story out into the public domain. It seems like this aircraft is not able to fly just yet. It's not unusual because military aviation is a complicated and safety-first business, but the Royal Navy appears to be struggling to get this aircraft serviceable and safe enough to fly once again. And we are told 3 attempts so far to get this aircraft off the ground have not so far succeeded. NDTV's Deepak Bopanna joins me live from Bengaluru tonight. His team has been looking very closely in Kerala at what's happening with this aircraft. Remember, the F-35 is part of one of the most expensive fighter programs in history, if not the most expensive one. And therefore, all eyes are on this unusual situation where a stealth fifth-generation fighter aircraft, American-built, operated by the Royal Navy, has been sitting at a Kerala airport for the last 6 days and nobody is able to do anything about it. Deepak, I want to quickly come to you. The latest that we have, that we reported earlier today, is that this aircraft, unusually, has been just sitting out there on the airport bay, doing nothing at all. Nobody is able to move it because the Royal Navy has not given permission for it to be moved. They don't want anyone to handle it, apparently. And Air India, which has offered the Royal Navy hangar space to take this aircraft inside a hangar so that it can actually be inspected there, the Royal Navy has actually declined. What are you hearing, Deepak?
Well, Shiv, like you said, this is one of the most expensive aircrafts ever made, but it's also one of the most complex, and that's where the challenges really are coming in, is what I'm picking up. I've also officially written to the British High Commission. I spoke to a team here in Bengaluru. They didn't have much to say. I've also written to the team in Delhi to get more information officially from them about what's happened to the aircraft, because unofficially what we are learning, like you said, was initially there was a weather issue, there was a fueling issue, but all of that probably now can be ruled out, considering the fact that it has been there for several days. A team was there to inspect, and try to figure if they can actually take it back to the aircraft carrier, but it doesn't seem like that has worked, considering the complexities involved in fixing any sort of issue with this aircraft. There was, of course, a chopper that flew in, took the pilot back, and that ruled out any possibility of it being taken in the next 24 to 48 hours as well, when it happened a couple of days ago. Right now, we are told that there will be information that will be picked up from back home. If there is a need to fly in any special engineers as well, that is a possibility too in the next 24 to 48 hours. Like you said, any help that has been offered to them that has been rejected, whether they will reconsider that request, that is something that remains to be seen.
Well, it's quite strange, but also a little surprising to see that the Royal Navy has declined an offer for an aircraft that is hugely expensive, is coated with materials that are, need constant maintenance to be able to maintain the kind of stealth that this aircraft enjoys, allowing it to be virtually invisible to radar. Well, they've actually declined that offer to put that aircraft inside a hangar, possibly due to the fact that this aircraft has a lot of secretive technologies, and there may be concerns over letting this aircraft out of their sight, even though the Royal Navy has requested a ground handling agency that they can control in this manner. Deepak, thanks very much for that. We're trying to get a word in from Air India as well about what else they might be offering to the Royal Navy at this time. But why is this F-35, one of the most advanced fighters in the world, still grounded? And is India unable to help the Royal Navy get this aircraft back in the air? Well, let's just show you some details of what we know so far about why this aircraft may be still grounded. We are hearing about a hydraulic failure. That appears to be confirmed. There appear to be some kind of an engine issue with the aircraft as well. That's also being reported in local media. Now remember, inspection requires secrecy, and obviously the Royal Navy can't get complete secrecy over there because this is, after all, an Indian airfield, even though they've been given the option, like I said, of moving the aircraft into a hangar, an option that they have so far not exercised or accepted. Maybe the Royal Navy is awaiting some special parts or special equipment. It needs specialized equipment or parts because, like I said, this is a very, very protected proprietary technology aircraft where you don't have common standard spare parts just lying around in any airfield, and therefore maybe what is wrong with this aircraft needs a kind of fix that can only come from Britain or from the United States, and not even something that can come from the ship, the HMS Prince of Wales, which is where this aircraft actually came from. Now, the F-35's problem may actually be bigger than believed. In fact, we've got some breaking news coming in now. News agency ANI, quoting defense officials, is saying that the problems with this F-35 stealth fighter that's been stuck on the ground for 6 days and counting may have a problem that is bigger than previously believed. We are given to believe that a third attempt by British technicians to maintain the aircraft, repair it, and get it serviceable to fly back to its ship actually did not succeed in getting the aircraft airborne and flyworthy again, and therefore it is still sitting on the tarmac at the Thiruvananthapuram airport. What is even more alarming perhaps is that defense officials say that the option of a British transport aircraft arriving in India or an American transport aircraft arriving in India to carry this aircraft back, carry the F-35 back, is being seen as a possibility. It may need to be ferried back. That is how serious the potential problem with this aircraft could be at this point of time. Let's make sense of this, and I want to make it very clear that on NDTV we are reporting this story because it is an unusual one. It is an advanced fighter. These things do happen in aviation. Aircraft can be grounded for days together for various problems. There are logistical issues, there are security issues, there are maintenance issues, there are diplomatic issues as well, and therefore this is a story with many different layers making the headlines. Air Marshal Sanjeev Kapoor, former Indian Air Force pilot, he served as Director General of Inspection and Flight Safety during his career. Dr. Guy Grattan is Associate Professor of Aviation and Environment, Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science at the Sir Peter Gregson Aerospace Integration and Research Center. Thanks very much, Dr. Grattan. I'll start with you first, Dr. Guy Grattan. What are you making of this F-35 on ground for 6 days and counting? We understand now that 3 attempts have been made by Royal Navy technicians to get this aircraft off the ground and back to its ship, perhaps. Those have not succeeded so far. What do you think is going on? We've heard everything from hydraulic failure to engine fault. Your view, sir?
I think it's probably down to the sheer complexity of the modern fighter. I mean, the aeroplane you're looking at in front of you is tons of very high technology equipment. Everything is state-of-the-art, and the nature of state-of-the-art technology is that everything is interrelated. Everything is unfortunately less reliable than you would like because it's all been designed to achieve the maximum of performance. So my guess, and it is only a guess, is that the Royal Navy are really struggling with probably some kind of complex, multifaceted failure. And clearly, they need to be absolutely confident of this before they look to fly it again. Hence what you've just reported about the possibility of a transport aircraft taking it away from India does make quite a lot of sense, because then they can take it back to a a rear maintenance base like RAF Marham, and then, I mean, presumably just pull the whole thing apart so they can be absolutely certain of it before it flies again.
Dr. Grattan, at this point of time, there is another piece of information that we've reported that an offer has been made to move this aircraft into a hangar for a closer inspection. That has been declined to our understanding by the Royal Navy, at least so far. Do you have a view on why that could be? We're hearing all sorts of things. There are security implications, etc.
They're clearly balancing the protection of the aircraft from the security. And F-35, which is obviously an American-led program with a lot of American security controls behind it, is one where the Navy have got to be very, very careful about who might potentially have access.
Yeah.
And I suspect if we had a latest Indian aircraft stuck at a British airport, exactly the same thing would be happening, that the Indian Air Force would be prioritizing the security and the ability to survey the aircraft. And in this case also, bear in mind it's a navalized fighter. It's designed to operate off the decks of ships, so it is very robust with regard to the weather. So they're probably less concerned about that than they are with the aircraft being out of their control in somebody else's hangar. Interesting.
Dr. Grattan, the F-35B, this particular F-35 is is the US Marine Corps and the Royal Navy version, which is basically a jump jet. Complicated aircraft, like you said. This particular one has a lift fan, and there's this huge symphony of moving parts in this aircraft, considered to be the most complicated of the three varieties of the F-35. Could that have something to do with it as well?
I think it's impossible to tell without having access to information that clearly none of us do.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, any latest generation fighter is a fantastically complex machine. And the number of ways in which a fighter can go wrong is enormous. So, yeah, there are so many things that can go wrong. And clearly, they've had a fault that caused them to divert. And it's entirely possible that led to further faults, or they have found further faults while they've been inspecting the aircraft. And perhaps they're going for the lesser embarrassment of being stuck on the ground in India than something going wrong on the flight back to the ship.
Yeah, very true. Air Marshal Kapoor, bringing you in on this conversation, and this is the second time we're talking about this week. The Indian Air Force has said that they've extended all possible support. The CISF is protecting the aircraft. Air India made an offer to move this aircraft in, but like Dr. Pratton said, there are compulsions and sensitivities as far as technology are concerned, and that's one of the reasons why perhaps it hasn't moved into a hangar right now. Your view on that, Air Marshal?
See, good evening, Dr. Grattan, and Shiv, good evening to you. My take, I told you day before also, this aircraft is secretly guarded for a lot of reasons. And to open its panels and to start accessing and working on this would somehow need approvals from Lockheed Martin and US government. Even the Royal Air Force, if it has to work on this aeroplane in a third country, I'm not sure, but my guess is there would be certain clauses by which they would have to seek some permission.
Yes.
Now, next issue is it is out in the open. There is, no, they have offered, the Air India has offered hangar because Trivandrum does have two hangars where this can be parked. How long will it take to get the jacks, machines, cranes, other equipment to open it? And it has to be in a dust protected environment, like Dr. Grattan said. No amount of, so the dust proof kind of environment which is needed to work on this aeroplane may not be existing. Plus, the bigger factor is that they may not be wanting to open this aircraft here for various reasons. So it would be prudent for it to be taken back. That's what I told you the day before also.
Yeah.
And they would be requesting, say, the Royal Air Force or a C-5 from the US Air Force or C-17. I don't know what make this aircraft can fit into. And though it's a naval version, so wings may be easily detachable kind or a foldable kind. I'm not sure in this version, but I'm sure the whole aim would be to fly it back and then take it to a place where that can be opened and checked.
But there are diplomatic, mechanisms in place for this kind of thing, Air Marshal Kapoor. India and the UK do have a
Yes.
robust defense relationship, obviously, in terms of also logistical support with each other. But this concerns a very protected piece of technology, and that's perhaps why the problems.
We have been doing regular exercises with the Royal Air Force. I have personally been involved in 2 of them. These exercises are flag named as Indradhanush. And Typhoons and other aeroplanes, their AWC, AWACS, refuelers have come to our bases and we have gone there.
Yeah.
That's normal. Now, when you go for international exercises, the understanding is that each country supports. In this case, this is not a joint exercise. In this case, it is not an exercise where the 2 air forces are engaged in some activity. It is a diversion from an aircraft carrier to a civil airfield. It's not even a military airfield. It's a civil airfield. So this aircraft has diverted and it's parked in the open. And as it is parked in open, it is attracting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And of course, the Lockheed people have come and gone. Like you covered 2 days ago, the people from the ship, also the HMS has come and seen this. So I think so it is beyond local repairs. They would be working on that.
Yeah.
Now, what the approvals they would be working at back end, because a large amount of US forces are in this area as we speak.
Correct.
In this area. These aeroplanes are around in a lot of US bases in and around. Maybe one option is they can then take it to that base from where they are operating, NATO base or a Air Force base, and could work on it if it has to join back ship, or if the call is taken to take it back to UK, that option is also existing.
Dr. Pratton, has this story of this F-35 on the ground here in India sparked any interest or coverage in the British press and media? It is here. Has it reflected there?
Very surprisingly, it's almost missing from the news here. The first I knew about it was when one of your colleagues contacted me this morning asking if I could talk about it. I did go and look, and there 1 or 2 of the British newspapers have mentioned it, but this does seem to be very quiet, and I do wonder if the British Ministry of Defence have quietly asked our journalists to save them some embarrassment by not putting this on the headlines here in Britain. So very interesting story, which now I know about it, I shall certainly be following continuously.
But why would you think that is? Is it really embarrassing, Dr. Pratton? Because, I know we're covering it, but, a military aircraft on the ground isn't exactly an unusual thing. Is this that much of an embarrassment?
To me, no, it's not. Military aircraft are complex, sometimes unreliable, and this is a very common event. Clearly, having a classified military asset unwantedly on the ground in a foreign country, even one as friendly as India, is a bit awkward and creates a lot of diplomatic fuss and so on.
Yeah.
So, but presumably somebody somewhere either thinks, I can't imagine they don't think this is interesting. So I think they must think that this is embarrassing, or that the public gossip in Britain will just get in the way of them solving the problem from this side of the world.
Well, looking forward to you following it up, and I'm happy to say that you heard about this story from NDTV. That's good to hear, and we will continue to report.
Thank you for telling me.
Absolutely. Stay with me. I also have with me on this, who's just joined the show, Patrick Smith is also an aircraft pilot. He runs the very popular Ask the Pilot website and portal. Patrick, welcome. Thanks for being with us here on this coverage. We were just speaking to Dr. Pratton and Air Marshal Kapoor. Your views very quickly, Patrick, on this F-35 that is stranded here in India, an American aircraft being operated by the Royal Navy.
Yeah, this could be almost anything. This is a tough one to answer and get into because there's just so little information about what exactly is going on. And maybe military authorities might not be completely forthcoming as to what the situation is. So any number of possibilities there. It's hard to say.
And we were just talking a moment ago before you joined us on, the fact that this is protected technology. India, of course, doesn't have F-35, so it doesn't have a support ecosystem to help this aircraft, even though the F-35 is separately on offer to India. Could that be one of the reasons that, the special parts or equipment don't exist here, and therefore the aircraft hasn't been able to fly yet?
That is certainly plausible. I think you just said it better than I could. That scenario you just encapsulated, is basically what I would have said. Too many question marks, too many unknowns to really get a sense of why the plane's there, what's wrong with it.
Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me, Patrick, Dr. Grattan, and Air Marshal Kapoor, for joining me on this particular segment. Some of them are going to stay with me for our next story coming up as well. But before I let go of the F-35 story, I had to bring you this because it's been going more viral than the story itself. Well, take a look at this. Someone called Donald Trumpan has put that poor F-35 that's stranded in Kerala up on OLX. Well, if people don't remember OLX, OLX is a very popular auction site. And there you have it. On the 16th of June, someone's put up a picture of that F-35 and said the starting bid is $4 million, which is about, a small fraction of the actual cost of this aircraft. But there you have it. Internet 1, F-35 0. That's the way it rolls here in this country. Well, we're certainly hoping that this F-35 is able to fly again and return to base. We wish all pilots, all technicians safety. This is a risky and difficult and complicated business. And as we continue to bring you that story, which remember first broke here on NDTV 6 days ago, all we wish for is the safety of all military personnel in this country.